Welcome back to Harv's Truck Stop. Today we are actually supposed to be reviewing a newer model, Tesla. However, once my sister pulled up in her Hyundai Tucson, I realized today's agenda had to change. This thing is nasty and she knows it. So instead, I'm gonna show you some of the chemicals I use and some of the other tools to keep my truck clean. And we're gonna do so by showing you a before and after of using those tools on my sister's car. So let's get into today's video. So let's start from the top. The first thing I always do is grab the shop vac and I start vacuuming the inside. There are different sizes of this vacuum. I think some are much stronger than others. You should be able to tell based on what's on the sticker, on the box, or the vacuum itself. But if you have one of these, I think you need the stronger vacuum to really get all that dog hair out. Next, how do we clean the outside? I just use standard dish soap and hot water in a bucket. That is a key component. You got to use warm water. I use something gentle to scrub in the soap, but rough enough to get all that mud and gunk out. And then I use one of these kind of squishy, spongy type dryers. I think they're like ShamWow types, that sort of material to dry off the car in the end. And the big thing is on a day like today where it's sunny, as soon as you wash that vehicle, you got to dry it quick or get it in a place of shade. Okay, let's talk about the inside. A lot more chemicals to work with here. I use this to wipe down the insides, the dash, the vinyl, rubber and plastic, just as it notes here. I usually try and follow the directions as much as I can so I don't leave any permanent marks. This is what I use to scrub the carpets. I personally have mats, rubber mats in my truck, but I still take them out and scrub so that the car smells good. And I have a dog that gets muddy and I want it to smell nice and feel nice. This is something I might use if I'm out of these, which I'm actually running low on conveniently. But this does a nice job getting the vinyl, plastics, same stuff that this does, another alternative. And then Windex. This is what I use to get the inside of the windows and sometimes the outside if I don't choose to just wax. So lastly, here's the pretty stuff. I use Meguiar's Tech Wax Spray. I think most of the waxes work pretty well. I haven't really found one I didn't like, but what I always do is I grab one microfiber to actually rub in the wax around the vehicle and a second one to rub it in firmly so there's no kind of extra waxier areas that gunk up, because it actually shows up on the vehicle if you don't use one to rub the wax around initially and a second one to rub it in more firmly. All right, I got my PBR hat on. I'm ready to roll. Let's start vacuuming. We'll work into the tools and we'll get this thing looking pretty. Let's go. I'm realizing I had to take the top mat out to reveal more crud and crumbs, so let's re-vacuum. I like to get hair off the first mat and then take it out and clean it separate. Ooh, that was satisfying. know there's a lot to be said about cleaning your car to figure out what someone's diet looks like. Sucked out a lot of French fries. Move to the other side. Changed my mind. Need an extension cord and don't know where it's at. Oh yeah. All right, now let's get the trunk going here. This part should be pretty satisfying. It's a lot of hair. I like to start in small areas because the trunk is the hardest. The hair just wants to stay. So I start in small areas and I go with different cross sections. As you can see, it looks like I just went to battle, which I did on this trunk. So what I'm gonna do next is actually see if this stuff is gonna work on getting some more of the hair out, because once you use this, at least in my experience, it does lift up some of the crumbs, sticks, and hair, which then you can re-vacuum if you really want to get crazy, which my sister works hard. I think I'll do something nice for her. Let's let it sit. Should foam up a little. Let's get a little more. See what happens. All right, I'm struggling a little bit, so I'm pulling out the big guns here. This is what I use when there's like sticks and hair really stuck in the carpeting. It's just like an attachment that goes in really any drill. I'm using the Ryobi drill and brush. I got this at Home Depot, and it helps to kick things up like that hair and dust and finally remove it to then finish by vacuuming one final time, sucking the rest out and calling it a day. It's gonna look really good, I'm excited. All right, it's time. We've finished vacuuming, and now we're gonna start with the interior. We're gonna wipe everything down, get all the dust off and the grime, and make things look a lot better. Probably thought I was gonna do some cool transition there. Nah, don't know how to do that yet. You don't want to get too close, otherwise you can chip off the paint. You gotta be careful. All right. Now we clean the outside. Start with just regular dish soap, scrub in now that we've already power washed. Then we'll power wash one more time and dry quick before the sun hits it and puts on sunspots. Let's get into it. We gotta go quick. The sun is out. know if this actually works, but I saw it on a video once.
It's so heavy.
All right, let's go to the other side, in the back. Flower the side. All right, let's dry. All right, it's time for the final touch. Let's wax this thing and make it sparkly and wrap this video up. I usually coat it, and then I get a fresh towel, and I rub the rest in. Okay, let's get a fresh rag. We'll redo it, and then we'll actually rub it in a lot more intensely so it sticks and looks sparkly, and you can't see that like opaque whiteness. We're gonna do it around the whole car, and then we'll shoot the final segment of the video where you'll see what this thing looked like in the end. Okay guys, well, that's gonna do it for this video, Harsh Truck Stop. Definitely the most hands-on I've had to get for a video, but I think it was worth it. It turned out great. Hopefully you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.